All right, so wish I'd gotten this a little more faster to you guys, but I gave you an advanced Skeleton 5 zip file. I think it's the wrong version, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to use it. If you double click on that and open it, you'll see inside of there that you get an install right here. And you also see an install text. And I think if you zoom in on that, where you want it to be, it doesn't really matter where the folder actually sits. It just means that you want it to be where you can find it. Literally, it just tells you once you have it, you're just going to drag and drop Maya to any viewport, right? So that's top, front, side, perspective, and it'll just put itself on the shelf. And so, it's really easy to install. So, best way is just kind of have it sort of sitting on the side like this. Go to Maya, and then maybe make it a little bit small. And then you're just going to take this install me. You're just going to drag it, right? Sorry. You're just going to drag it over and drop it into one of your windows or your viewports, and it'll install. And I don't want to do it because it's going to put two versions on there, and I don't want to let go. But once you let go, it just sort of pops in, and then you'll have Skeleton 5. Pretty straightforward, that process. So I put that Skeleton 5 zip folder into the on the Canvas page. So go ahead and grab that and install that. The next step is, I'm not going to use any of these other things, but we'll talk about these are some selectors and stuff. Let's not worry about that. The main one's this 5 icon, and that's the one that we're using to get into the parts of the tool that we're working with today. I went through my character. I set up the eyes, and I gave them names, and there's nothing else in the scene, so there's nothing else here. The other thing to watch out for is that let me turn on my grid. Just make sure that when you start this, you want your character up onto the floor. If you don't do this, it's going to mess with your I can handle controls, and they'll look a little bit weird. So it's good to just get in there and just really get that thing lined up using the side view to just line the feet up with the floor. That's the main thing there. Just make sure you get that way. Now that's going to add in some values, so just watch out for that. Now I can freeze transformations on those. It's one thing. Okay, that's a good thing to do. And so now this is pretty well set up. So next steps are, actually going to save this so I don't lose that set right there. Save scene. So now the next step is open up Skeleton 5. So I was working with this earlier, so let's go back to pre. And the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to click on Model Clean. And the first thing that you do is you want to start, it really is an order, and I've mentioned this several times now. Just start with Model Clean. First thing is you're going to create a group that's called Geo. Essentially just took those objects and put it in a group called Geo. Okay. And then you're going to click on, do that. So if I click create, they're all selected, just notice that. And then I'm going to click the clean. Now we notice that it took the texture off, but if you click on the checker ball, it goes back on. And I don't know why I was having a hard time in the class. I think I was just kind of freaking out or something. Sorry about that. And so you can see it's still there. The material's still on the character. Everything's good. It's clean. So it's cleaned. It's got the geo. So everything's set up. So the next step is to create a scene. And what I want to do is just be really careful about my names And I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my names. It's starting to get already a little out of control, but just be careful with your names. So I'm going to do file save scene as. And I made this reference models folder, if you recall. So I did that last class, and I've already done it here. So I've made a folder inside of my scenes folder. It's called reference models. So I don't lose track of what I'm doing. These are the ones that are only for reference. And I've already kind of started again. So I did a ref 01. Then I kind of just did a test just now just with ref 02. So it's geo ref 02. And then I started doing Skeleton5 saves, and you can see I'm doing Skeleton5 ref 02, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just reiterating or iterating on those, okay? So in this case, I'm going to just stick with the same naming convention, but I'm going to go to geo 03. So this is my reference version. So if I want to change the textures or anything, I'll change them all here. I'll do all that change here, and then it should update on the Skeleton5 version. We'll test that when we're done. So just watch out with your names here. Okay, getting tons of emails today. So save that. So now we're good. So now the next thing is to click on New Scene. So that's really the same as going to File, New Scene at that point. And then now we're going to create our reference. So I'm using the reference 3 this time instead of reference 2, so you'll see these names will reflect that reference 3. Can't reiterate enough how much that was a problem for people. It seems pretty straightforward, but it's real easy, as you know, to just start losing track. Wait, which one was to which one? And I think the way I'm naming these is going to really help. Say reference, continue. So I kept getting this error again. You know, it's in the script somewhere. Something's in position 1. I don't know. Create general preview button. I don't think it's a problem. You know, so far it hasn't caused any issues. So just notice I'm getting that error. Maybe you get one, maybe you don't. So remember, the model comes in, you get a layer. We don't usually talk a lot about layers in our classes, but now we're starting to get layers, and so you'll want to start to watch out for this. I have found that the layers act a little bit funny. I've had some students really get into layers. I've found them to be just bothersome to a little bit just for the level of work that we're doing, but obviously this is a good time to start noticing that there are layers and how things are laid out here. This is the main button you want to look at. This is template, and this is how it's viewed. So this is a reference, so I can't select it when it's in R, and then when it's not R, I can select it. So template, reference, and then just a regular object. This, I believe, is visibility. I can't remember what P refers to. I'm going to keep it in template for now. And so that's kind of how it comes in. Sorry, I'm zooming all over the place. So just watch those. Main one is going to be the T version, right? That's what we're looking for, templates, and then you want to see it sometimes as well. So that's pre. That's what we did with pre. So I was basically cleaning the model. We which made the geo node, and then we saved the model before we did the new scene, and then we did the new scene, and then we referenced. And again, remember those little blue dots are reference nodes. If you're ever looking to edit or play around with those references, here's the reference editor. You can actually work with the reference editor here. I have found all of these referencing things to be a little bit persnickety, and I would not recommend messing around too much in here, but there is a way to manage references. Okay, so we'll get out of pre. So now